Cool. And now we are going to go into you and drama, and we are going to talk about Count of Monte Cristo. So, Sharon, is this the Sam Claflin version?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So please tell us about this.
Yeah, this is a television drama over, I think it's 7 parts. And it tells us the classic Alexander Dumas story of the Count of Monte Cristo. And I haven't read the book recently. I
Uh,
have read it, but not recently.
I'm sorry, Sharon. Just when you said Alexander Dumas, and we were just talking about Stephen King and Shawshank Redemption, I couldn't help but just think Alexander Dumbass.
That
Alexander
my pronunciation.
Dumbass.
Is D'Artagnan in this? Is this the one D'Artagnan pops up in?
No,
No.
no, that's
No.
the
Well,
Three
I think he
Musketeers
does
or
in the
Man in the
book.
Iron Mask.
A Man in the Iron Mask, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think there's some where they pop up in the books because they're all linked, a lot of his novels. But this is, anyway, this is the Count of Monte Cristo. Starts off with, he's not a young man, but a youngish man, Edmond Dantes. He's it's in 1814 it starts. He's just got engaged to be married. His future's looking rosy, and he's asked to deliver a letter. And in 1814, those of you who know your French history, this is set in Marseille, south of France. Those of you know French history, in 1814, Napoleon had been defeated at Toulouse and was imprisoned in Alba. And for that period of 100 days, he he goes back onto mainland Europe. He raises his armies again, and he engages in battle, and he ends up ultimately at the Battle of Waterloo. So in
Yeah.
that period where there's sort of the royalists have been re-established, and then Edmond Dantes is given this letter, which is a Napoleonic letter, and it is seized at the time when Napoleon is still in exile. Um, he is then betrayed for different reasons, and he is sent to prison without trial and just thrown away in this fortress where he languishes for 15 years.
Mm.
Even though during that time Napoleon then becomes emperor, and he appeals saying, his family appeals saying that, well, he was convicted of being a sort of treason for, no, wasn't convicted, but he's imprisoned essentially for treason. But now Napoleon emperor, can't you let him go? And they're saying, well, no, actually, the emperor's been defeated, so he's still treasonous because you've missed your opportunity.
All
So anyway,
right.
he spends 15 years in jail. He gets out he escapes from this fortress, and he escapes with a treasure map, and he finds this enormous wealth, this hidden treasure, and he sets himself up as this enormously wealthy Count of Monte Cristo. And then he sets about enacting a revenge against the three people he holds most responsible for imprisoning him and the loss of these 15 years. So the beginning 2 episodes is like his arrest, his imprisonment, his time in his incarceration. Then when he sort of finds his fortune and lays the foundations for his revenge, and then you've got 2 or 3 episodes where he starts to enact his revenge, and the final episode is when it all comes to fruition.
Yeah.
So it's a
Can I
tale
ask
of
Sharon?
revenge, basically.
Can I ask, is there much in the way of action in this, or is it much intrigue and stuff?
It's more intrigue. There's very little sort of fighting as such or action scenes. Yeah, no, there's the odd duel, but nothing I would say that you'd say was an action sequence.
Yeah, well, the weird thing with this is I'm not sure if you guys have the same thing as I do. That where I hear the Count of Monte Cristo, and it's such a famous title. I know it's about revenge, and I feel like I should know that. But when I actually think about it, I actually don't know anything about this story. I know he gets in prison. I know he escapes. I know he wants revenge. That's all I know. I don't know how it ends. I don't know any of the other characters in the book besides the Count of Monte Cristo or Edmond something do Arantes or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you said you read the book, but a long time ago.
a
And
long time ago.
yeah, from what I hear, this is like probably the most faithful adaptation of the book because they usually tell like the initial thing and then make all kinds of different things with it. But did you enjoy it? What did you think of this? Did you think it
I
was
did
worth
on
it
the
for?
whole, actually, because it's unusual to find a sort of drama like this that they don't mess about with. And I say that in the nicest way. But a lot of dramas, like you see some of them where it's like you get flashbacks, you get these scenes, it's sort of cutting back and forth in
Yep,
time.
yep.
And this is basically they've got a beginning, a middle, and an end in
It's
that
just
order.
it's nuts and bolts.
It's a more or less a faithful, without having read the book recently, it felt more like a representation of that work, or as faithful as you can get, with sorts of modern sensibilities. So the fact that it was quite a traditional book adaptation, I quite liked the fact that it was, okay, this is our narrative, this is how it starts, this is the story, how it progresses, and this is the conclusion. And we're so used to them sort of chopping about narratives that to have a traditional narrative is like, well, actually, I quite like that. So
this is the bad guy, and there is no double cross. That's just the bad guy.
Yeah, I felt like it's quite like a slow burn. They introduced quite a few modern elements, which I think I'm not sure that was in the book. There's a few bits that jarred a little bit. I was thinking, I'm not really sure that would be in there, but I felt that it worked, and I like the flow of it. I would say it's more of a slow burn than like a boom, 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 boom. So you had to sort of persevere with it. I didn't watch it as a binge watch. It's not something that you can't read the book in a sitting. It's one of those books you have to let it sort of take its time to tell the story. So I watched it over a couple of weeks. I watched an episode. I never watched, I think I watched the most was 2 episodes back to back. Most of the time I just watched one.
Yeah.
It's about an hour long, let that sink in and then watch the next one. So I took it over a couple of weeks. So I enjoyed it because I thought it was a faithful, solid, toilet piece of entertainment, and I enjoyed it. So I would certainly give it 3 stars. Sorry?
How many parts is it? Sorry.
I think it was 7.
Okay.
All right. So how many stars would you give it?
So I'd definitely give it 3 stars. I think at moments it would going up to a 4, but other moments it's all dipped when I was thinking, I'm finding the pace a little bit. But I thought on the whole, balancing all that out, I would say it's a solid 3. I'd enjoy it. Wouldn't set the world on fire, but it was certainly a nice piece of entertainment, and it was an international cast, largely European cast. But you sort of hear these different accents and the different, obviously, actors well known in their own culture. So, but no, I thought it was good, well worth watching, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Once I heard it's a UN drama, I'm going to be like, yeah, they're gonna try and save some money and probably cast people that are not known outside of the countries that they're in.
Yeah, so I think that of all the people in it, we would recognise a few English actors. Nicholas Farrell, I think, popped up in there, and there's a few sort of character actors, but the biggest name we would know is Sam Claflin as the Count.
Just out of interest, Sharon, you probably know this. Was there a film with Richard Chamberlain in the 1970s
Yes, he did it in the 70s, and there was one in the 90s as well
with Jim Caviezel.
I think it was with. That's it. He was in it as well.
Toes gets him all the time.
Jim Caviezel in the wake of the Passion of the Christ, he did Account of Monte Cristo, with Jim Caviezel.
And I think the Abbé Fauré, I think, is the one, the mad long-haired guy who's also in prison. He was played by Jeremy Irons. So this is the first thing I've seen him in something for a long time, and he was very good in his sort of that role of gravitas and an experience.
Yeah, essentially, Jeremy Irons has now become just sort of like oh, gravitas in a can. There we go. We have some gravitas.
That's it. We need
elder statesman actor. He has achieved elder statesman.